Saint Charbel is a saint for the priests. All priests are Eucharistic, but Saint Charbel was known for his peers and Mass attendees, saw the exemplary way this monk celebrated the solemnity of the Holy Sacrifice of the Mass, so that they were in awe for what was happening there and then when he was celebrating the Mass, and also the way he prepared for Mass. A recluse, but a subject of his superiors, who would at an instant go when he was asked to distribute communion to those who had already been confessed in their homes. He's a favourite of the Maronite Church, one of the rites within the Roman Catholic Church, and the miracles which he performs are as many today as what they were in the beginning. He lived between the years 1828 to 1898. He offered his prayers and penances so that the world would return to God. And everyone who has given up houses or brothers or sisters, or father or mother or children or lands. The call to this way of life is for many more than those who have taken it up. One of the beautiful things that happens is that we need to trust in God. In order to have this great trust in God, we must love Jesus in the Eucharist, the centre and summit of our faith, where we spend much time with him. And then you'll know that the religious life will give you greater opportunities to be with him, either exposed on the altar or in the tabernacle, because the life of the religious is around the Eucharist, more so because it's in the same house as they reside. Many of you are consecrated to the Immaculate, but she, of course, is your boss. But at the same token, you need to have someone overviewing you. And that's why many who are called to this consecration to Our Lady are also being called to an order, to a religious order. And for many, it's impossible to live in a community because of marriage commitments or family commitments. And it is still possible to be in an order. And I'm talking about third orders. One thing that came through very clearly to me as I was at the Eucharistic Congress in Indianapolis a week past is that the tertiaries of the Franciscans of the Immaculate, the ones who were wearing their habits because we had a stall there and they also wanted to depict this way of life. Interestingly, when I was looking to a particular gathering of priests, some 1,620 went in procession. They were the ones that were counted anyway, over 100 bishops. The ladies in their habits, the ones who were with the Franciscans of the Immaculate, ushered me towards where they thought I was to gather. And on so doing, they needed to get past a couple of checkpoints. But when they were seen to be given and wearing the habit, they were immediately allowed to pass by. And they then were walking with the group of religious sisters, those who were either nuns or those who had taken up the consecrated life and were living in community. They were besides themselves. They knew the impact of the habit, and they also knew that when they were wearing the habit around the events at the stadium, the conventional centre there, that they were recognised in habits and that people were different to them, the way they addressed them, the way they were able to counsel people, encourage people, converse with people. So they have a touch of this life which Jesus is talking about here. With the consecration, it helps you to get into that order if that is what your calling is. And Our Lady will tell you, but the gospel traces out a very simple and beautiful road, but a difficult one. Oh, how difficult. It is necessary to travel it if you wish to live the consecration to Our Lady. I address you because that is our focus. The consecration to Our Lady brings you closer to Jesus in the Eucharist. Our Lady, she forms you in a practical way to live with Jesus. She tells you the things which she has most in her heart, because they are the very things which Jesus has told you in the gospel, which today should be lived with the simplicity of little ones, with the ardour of martyrs and with the fidelity of courageous witnesses. It should be lived to the letter. To pray, to do penance, to mortify yourself, to the practice of virtue, to trust, to hope, to exercise of an even more perfect charity. So don't be delayed, therefore, by your anticipation of the events to come. No one can comprehend these, and many can be distracted and put off what God is calling them to do. Our Lady's like a mother. She tells you the dangers which you are going to imminently have, but remember, the extent of these evils can be withdrawn depending on our receptivity to the prayer, devotion, and may I say, the Fatima message. The more you live out that Fatima message, as those little children did, they were able to reach sanctity of such a type that they were in heaven, two of them, very soon after they died. So the call to the religious life is a sign of the kingdom to come. It's something we are all drawn to, many more than what have actually joined this new way of life. Yes, there are hurdles to come, but if you spend time with Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament, He will then guide you into groups where you can receive that Christification and many of the Marian groups, because the nature of Our Lady is such to form Christ in each and every one of us. So immediately consider then the necessity to pray many rosaries.